Are you considering a move to Mexico and you're stuck between the city life of Guadalajara or just going an hour away to the Lake Chapala area? Well, in this video, we're going to be breaking down which area is actually better for expats based on having lived in Guadalajara and also currently living and working in the Lake Chapala area as American expats. Hi, my name is Amanda. Welcome to Entrepreneur Expat. My husband Justin and I left the United States a few years ago and moved to Mexico. And on this channel, we talk about what it's like to move abroad, what it's like to be an American expat living in another country. We talk about how to make money online so you can go anywhere in the world. We've got real estate tours. We manage properties in the Lake Chapala area. We've got office space, which is an expat hub where you can get a lot of your questions answered. There's a lot that goes on this channel. So if that's all stuff that you're interested in, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single video that we have coming out on this channel. And if you're interested in moving to Mexico, we can help you in two ways. So the first is by downloading our free Moving to Mexico guide below. It'll help you get started. Mexico's going through a lot of immigration changes lately that are important to note. So that guide will help you get started and starting to put all the pieces together. And the second is we can actually help you with the immigration. We can help you with finding more short-term rentals, long-term rentals, and even investing in property out here with a view like this. So what you need to do there is you can actually just apply to work with us at entrepreneurexpat.com/consult, or if you are already in the Lake Chapala or Guadalajara area, you can come visit us at our office, and we will leave the information for that below as well. So let's get into it. What is better for expats, Guadalajara or Lake Chapala? It really just depends on what stage of life you're in. It depends on what kind of energy and mood you're in. It depends on what you value, and that's basically it. It might depend on how old you are too. I'm just gonna throw that out there. So Lake Chapala is really good for those of you who want a slower pace than the city. Guadalajara, although it is not as chaotic as Mexico City. We were just in Mexico City a couple weeks ago and I was like, no, I could never live here. I would definitely prefer Guadalajara over Mexico City. Guadalajara is actually growing very rapidly. There's a lot of construction going on. The World Cup is coming to Mexico. Guadalajara is hosting some matches. It's caused a lot of construction and craziness and all kinds of stuff. And there's also a lot of people moving to Jalisco from other parts of Mexico. So Guadalajara is also growing really fast and it's getting a little bit chaotic. It's definitely more chaotic than it even was when we were there, when I first got there a few years ago. So if you don't really want city chaos, if you want a slower pace of life, if you would rather be on the road with some cows and some goats and some horses, then Lake Chapala is probably better suited for you than perhaps Guadalajara. If you are a digital nomad and you need co-working spaces and all that kind of stuff, then perhaps Guadalajara is a better match for you than Lake Chapala. A lot of digital nomads, they don't stay in one place for very long. Guadalajara does have a lot of infrastructure for those of you who are more nomadic and just passing through. There's tons of co-working spaces in Guadalajara. Out here on the lake, not so much. Although we can tell you that we get better internet out here than we were in Guadalajara, but in terms of infrastructure for those of you who are more nomadic and you need to work while you're on the road, then maybe Guadalajara is a better fit for you. To be honest, both places are pretty great when it comes to art, culture, food, people. Both places are pretty awesome in that regard. But if you want more of the museums, if you want the giant cathedrals, if you want, concerts all the time, in Guadalajara every October, they'll do the Fiestas de Octubre. It's concerts all over the city. They have literary festivals. If you're more into that kind of stuff, then perhaps Guadalajara is a better fit for you. Ajijic does have those things, or the Lake Chapala area, I should say, does have those things. It's just on a much smaller scale than Guadalajara. If you want nightlife, you're going to Guadalajara. You're not coming out here on the lake, especially our side of the lake. We're about 20 minutes from Ajijic. Closer to the Jocotepec area is where you can find our office space. In the Senderos Plaza is where you can find us. And everything in Joco rolls up really early at night. In Ajijic, they'll be out, things will be open later, but not as late as Guadalajara. In Guadalajara, you can get anything you need 24/7, no problem whatsoever. If you want more of an expat hub because you want more of a soft landing, To be honest, both cities pretty much serve as a soft landing, but in different ways, right? So in the Lake Chapala area, you can go to Ajijic, you can go to Chapala. Yeah, even now when we go to San Juan Cosala or Jocotepec, like there's more foreigners every day. We've got foreigners walking into our office every single day, and we are closer to Jocotepec. So it's definitely more of a softer landing if that's what you're looking for, if you're not looking for as much of a shock. However, you can also find softer landings in Guadalajara. You're just going to find them in the middle of a major city, in perhaps places like Colonia Americana, which is one of the neighborhoods in Guadalajara where you will find a lot of expats. I will also say, and it's partially our fault because of this YouTube channel, there are a lot more Americans and Canadians who are moving to Guadalajara, especially those of you on the younger side. There's a lot more moving to Guadalajara, which brings me to my next point. This is all going to depend on what season of life you're in and what kind of energy you want. Because when you're in the Lake Chapala area, it is going to be a lot more either retirees or people who are serving an older crowd like us with the real estate and the property management and the immigration and all that kind of stuff. Or it's going to be people who are also like us who are older souls at heart, and we just wanted to slow down and have a slower pace for a while and didn't want the stimulation of a city. We just wanted a break. So if that's you, then the Lake Chapala area is going to be better for you. If you're younger, if you're single and looking to mingle, if you need the nightlife, if you need the stimulation, if you like a faster pace, then it's going to be Guadalajara. And although it is changing out here in the Lake Chapala area, we do see more younger people moving out here. We do see more families moving out here. It's still mostly retirees or people who are close to retirement. That is still the majority. Whereas if you go to Guadalajara, you're going to find a much younger crowd. It just is what it is. In terms of food, both areas top notch. In Ajijic and Chapala, you can find international cuisine. In Guadalajara, you can find international cuisine. And to be honest, like, we have no complaints about food in Mexico at all. It's one of the reasons why we love Mexico. Is it's kind of like Italy insofar as it's very difficult to find a bad meal. In Mexico, it's kind of like that. Like in Italy, it's very, like, you would have to try to find a bad meal in Italy. Well, Mexico's very similar. You have to like try to find a bad meal because the food is so good. Pretty much, except Asian food. Yeah, Latin America doesn't do Asian food very well, so that's the only caveat there. And that's going to be a problem in Lake Chapala or Guadalajara, either one. And you would prefer, if you want more nature, you're going to definitely prefer being out here on the lake versus Guadalajara in the city. That depends on the person. We also wanted more nature. You can go hiking out here, you can go biking out here. There's a lot more outdoor activities. There's people who kayak out on the lake. There's sometimes every once in a while we'll see jet skiers on other parts of the lake, or we'll see people out with little dinghies or something like that. In Guadalajara, obviously, you know, your outdoor in Guadalajara is basically like Parque Metropolitano, which is the big, it's kind of like their Central Park, or I think it's, what is it called? Colima's, the one in Providencia, the big park in Providencia that I can't remember the name right now. That's it. That's basically your outdoors. In Guadalajara, everything else is basically concrete in a valley surrounded by mountains. And here, obviously, as you can see, this is the view from our backyard. This is what we get to wake up to every single day. Actually, I think this is the sunset. So this is, we still get to see this every single day. That's going to make a big difference as well for those of you who want to be out in nature. I joke that our neighbors are cows and, you know, horses and goats. We were driving through Ajijic and Chapala the other day, and we literally saw a guy with his goats, like just going down the road, moving the goats from one place to another. Or we were down at the plaza where we have our office, and they were just like cows on the road being moved to another location. So if you want more nature, then, you know, Lake Chapala is going to be a lot better for you because Guadalajara is obviously a lot more of a concrete jungle. If you're in the tech business or tech space, Guadalajara is going to be one of your spots. There's kind of a competition between Monterrey and Guadalajara in terms of what's going to be the tech hub of Mexico. So that might be more for you. You're not going to find any of that out here on the lake. So it might also depend on what kind of business you're in, right? So tech, Guadalajara. Real estate, Lake Chapala. So it could depend on that as well. For example, we're in real estate. We manage a lot of properties in the Lake Chapala area, short-term and long-term rentals. For those of you who are looking for them, we can help you with that. We've also got real estate listings of houses that are for sale, and we like to look for investment, right? So we're like, what's going to be not necessarily Ajijic because that's already saturated, but what's going to be like the next up and coming place on the lake, and let's go invest there. So it could also just depend on what kind of business you're in or what kind of investor you're in, if that is something that you are looking into. But overall, both places are great. We lived in Guadalajara for a few years, and then we would come out to Lake Chapala on weekends when we needed a break from the city, and now it's reversed, right? Like now we live in Lake Chapala because there was a lot of opportunity out here for us and we wanted to be closer out in nature and a little bit of a slower pace, but we still go to Guadalajara at least like once a month. At least once a month we'll go into Guadalajara to run errands, meet friends, do what we're going to do, or we like to visit the city every once in a while. So both are great. And the good news about Guadalajara and Lake Chapala is they're not far from each other. So on a good day, ChatGPT said it was 45 minutes from Lake Chapala and Guadalajara, and you might be getting that on ChatGPT. If you're looking, it's a bold-faced lie. You're probably looking at an hour, hour and a half, because there's a lot more people. There's also a lot of construction going on as they fix the roads for the World Cup. There's just a lot of stuff going on all over the place right now. So realistically, you're looking at more hour, hour and a half, but that's still not bad, right? You can still get to and from the places pretty easily. So it really just depends on where you would rather live. We've done both, right? For a while, we preferred living in Guadalajara and visiting Lake Chapala. And at this stage, we prefer living in Lake Chapala and visiting Guadalajara. You can't lose either way. It just depends on what it is that you're looking for in this stage of your life. So hope you guys found this very helpful. Once again, if you're interested in moving to Mexico, you can get started with our free Moving to Mexico guide. That will also get you added to our email list. It's where we share events online and in person at our office or in the Lake Chapala area. When we have new real estate listings, you guys will be the first ones to know. When we have new Airbnb listings, for those of you looking for short-term rentals, you guys will also be the first ones to know. We're managing properties all the way from Jocotepec all the way to Chapala right now. We've got several under management for those of you who are looking for short-term or you're scouting the area or things like that. Again, email list is always the first to know before we announce it to the public or put it on any of our websites or Airbnb or VRBO or any of those things, so you can get started there. The other place is if you're like, hey, I'm ready to go now, right? I'm looking for either investment or a place to buy, or I need immigration, or I want to start a company, like one of our clients now wants to start a company in Mexico, then you can apply to talk to us, entrepreneurexpat.com/consult, and we can talk about what your options are. And if you're in the Lake Chapala area, you're passing through, you live here, you're visiting from Guadalajara on a weekend, whatever, then make sure to visit us at our new Entrepreneur Expat office. You can find it in the Senderos Plaza, pretty much on the main highway, and we will leave the pin for you below so you can find it easily on Google Maps. Thank you so much for giving me your time today. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, and we will catch you on the next one.